Welcome to the channel. In this video I'm just going to show you a little bit of my setup and show you a little bit what's going on basically, and then yeah, we can take the channel from there. At the moment you're just looking in the base of one of my aquariums, which has a little aquaponics system on top of it. Down here you can see we have an axolotl in here. Her name's Pickle. But yeah, let's have a look at some of the actual garden beds. So first off, we just have this tank here. So it's just running off a small little fish tank, and as you can see, it's just a raft system. This was an aquaponics system, but now is a hydroponic system. So basically, if you don't know the difference between aquaponics and hydroponics, there's a lot of differences, but one of the main fundamental differences is one relies on aquaculture, hence being called aquaponics, and one relies on just a water system being hydroponics. So this system used to have a fish in it. Sadly, it was pretty old and passed recently. So it's kind of an aquaponic system because it's still running off that nitrite cycle and all that nitrate build up from the goldfish. But currently it doesn't have a fish in it, so you could also kind of call it a hydroponic system, even though I'm not adding extra chemicals. So I don't know. In the comments, tell me, what would you call this? Aquaponics or hydroponics? This current system. So yeah, as you can see in here, we have some fresh lettuce going over here. We got some cress, which is going a little bit crazy at the moment. Some more lettuce over here. Back here we have, what was that again? I believe that was some like cilantro, whatever you guys call it over there. I'm pretty sure that's what you call it over there. And over here we have some kale. The kale's doing really well. Kale was actually planted about a week and a half after everything else, but it's just taken off. If we lift up the raft a little bit, you can, oh, there's a bit of light pollution going on there, but look at that. The roots down here are just having a hell of a time. The watercress, or the cress, not the watercress, that's the main one going crazy, but you can see we also have back here our kale rooting in, and our lettuce is starting to. So yeah. Yeah, this kind of is broken off, and I just kind of put it here because it looks nicer. Get back in there. Yeah. So this is one of the systems you have running at the moment. There's also a plant sitting at the bottom, which is actually just like a normal tree, like kind of plant. I don't know if you can see it down there. Yeah, you can see a little bit of it. But up here it's starting to flourish a bit and starting to root under, so this might actually take off properly. And we just have a low flow filter down here with a lot of algae build up, as you can see. But I don't mind algae at all. Keeps my systems nice and clean. Although now that I've changed this over to an aquaponic system, probably do want to scrub out a bit of this algae, just so that all of that nutrients can go to the plants instead of the algae, because obviously I do want to try and eat from this. And I'll be doing update videos, so you'll be able to see how these plants go over the next few weeks. But yeah, let's have a look at, oh actually first, yeah, I've also got this backing bit. This is actually just a bit of like carpet underlay, and I've just cut it and repurposed it. Got a little bit of duct tape holding it together, and it's got this sticky stuff for like when you're actually using it, so that works well just to attach to the tank. And this just actually has a normal lamp on it, pretty powerful globe in it, and yeah, just using that to get a bit more of the reflected lights. So now let's come back to this fish tank, and well, yeah, the one with the beautiful axolotl in it, and I'll show you the grow beds. So just before I show the grow beds, I'll actually just show you the light. So again, I have the same material as I was using on the last tank, but this time I have it attached to some core flute, whatever it's called, which is basically that plastic cardboard stuff you can get from hardware stores. And that's just tied up with some string. The only reason I'm using multiple loops of string is so that I can raise the light up and down based on how tall the plants are getting. It's actually got nothing to do with strength, and because that's just attached up there to a hook, which is into the stud. This whole like setup is pretty light. As you can see, it moves way too easily, and I actually have to have it set up in a way where it's kind of taped to the wall so it doesn't go askew, seeing it's only attached in one spot. So maybe that's something I could look at fixing in the future, is having 2 hooks up here. But yeah, this little flap here opens up and reveals our garden beds. So these are probably the most experimental garden beds ever at the moment. Basically I'm going for an automatic draining system which isn't using a bell siphon and is based off an airlift. An airlift is a really efficient way of getting, well, it's not really that efficient, but at the same time it's kind of passive, of getting air from your sump, which is your lower tank, up to your grow beds. And basically all you're using is some piping and an air pump, and you probably have an air pump already for your air stone. So yeah, this is the base basically of our airlift. I'll show you how to make that probably in the next video, because they are very useful. But so yeah, up here we have our airlift putting water into here, and we have some nice plants up here. We have a little cherry tomato here. We have some basil and some cress. One sec. Yeah, sorry about that. My phone was saying its memory card was full. But yeah, so basically we have this garden bed filling up, and then it's draining down into this lower bed. As you can see, I have a little bit of string, and basically that's just to make sure the water flows down into this bed and doesn't go under this one, and just, yeah, basically go straight back into the tank. And then over here we have some more lettuce. We have a really nice, healthy cherry tomato, and yeah, a few more of the plants that we had going out of the place, like some kale and stuff like that. That garden bed then, via this little pipe, drains over into this sand bed, which we have basically the same array of plants plus some lilies. This lily here is loving it and doing quite well. Really looking forward to having this shoot get down into the water, and then I should see some good growth from this. And then of course this tank, this little grow bed here just comes down and drains back into the main tank, which you can just see here. So yeah, this is basically the most experimental bed I have at the moment, which I may have already said. It's on a very big fish tank at the moment, so I'm going to move this to a tank I got recently, which is a lot smaller than this one, but it should be perfect for this setup, plus probably one more of these little grow beds. In the other room I have another tank around about this size, which I'm using currently, well, I'm cycling it at the moment and using it to test the bell siphon. So I'll probably do a video on the bell siphon soon as well. But yeah, so these plants here are going to move over to this tank very soon, once I can get this cycled. And I also got a new light, which should be able to take probably about 2 of these tanks plus another one. And then once I have all that set up, yeah, should be good to put a much bigger grow bed up here. You can get these little slide-in storage containers that are meant to like slide under your bed, and they're about the same size as this tank. So I'm going to build a little frame around the tank to support one, and basically put one above here and fill it up with a clay medium, and then we'll get some real plants going in here, because it'll be interesting to see how these tomatoes and stuff can go in here. But at the moment I feel like this one T4 light globe I have going probably isn't enough. But like I said, I have a mount for 2 T8s or 2 T4s. I could put T8s in here, which I probably will, but which is about twice the length of this and holds 2 globes. So yeah, a lot of updates to come soon, and I'll be showing you the progress in all these plants and more experiments and filters, some ways of getting all the solid mass out of your tank before it gets sucked up, anything that's sitting on the top of the surface of the water basically. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you like aquaponics or hydroponics or fish or gardening in general, definitely leave a subscribe. I have an outdoor garden as well. At the moment it's basically all just plant based, and I have a lot of like vertical pots going on at the moment. but we're also going to build a greenhouse in the next, probably next 3 weeks, and I'm going to be building that with my sister and her boyfriend. So yeah, if you're interested in watching that, stay around, and as always, well not as always, but it's the first video, but we'll get used to saying that, enjoy your day, and keep growing.